My dear brothers and sisters, tragedy can strike us so quickly and very capriciously as we go about our daily lives. In a moment, by the blinking of an eye, it strikes, and life is changed forever. It was a very recent tragedy in our parish. 2-3 days ago, a young man comes to the parish to collect all the documents required in order to settle back home in India. He took the documents 3 days ago, and yesterday he was dead, 47 years old. Life has changed forever. Takes a different tragic turn in life. And he was supposed to travel today, and it is his dead body that will travel. So this is how life takes a different turn when tragedy strikes. The 21st century saw a spate of terrorism in the world. Thousands were killed for no reason by complete strangers who somehow assume that they are doing a good thing for the world. Then there were tsunamis, earthquakes, floods, typhoons, and whatnot. All kinds of things happened, and we have been experiencing this throughout this first quarter of the century. And now all of us are dealing with this tragedy called COVID-19, and the world has no answer to it. We're all troubled and burdened in fear and anxiety. Are we not tempted to ask this question? Why does God allow this tragedy to happen? Of course, in faith, all of us know God does not allow such tragedies to happen. Lamentations 3:33 says, He does not willingly afflict or trouble anyone. But then, in the heart of heart, this question comes up, wells up in our heart. Why does God allow these tragedies to happen? 2,000 years ago, the disciples of Jesus asked the same question. The blind man whom we met in the gospel today was born blind. And the whole gospel passage, chapter 9, 1 to 41. And there we see the disciples asking this question. Why was this man born blind? Has he sinned? His parents sinned? His forefathers sinned? No answer. And notice that Jesus does not give a simple, neat answer to that question. Jesus only tells what good can this tragedy produce. That's the point of Jesus. That's what we need to look at. It is an age-old question, suffering and death. And no one can really answer that question. Nor can I answer this question to you. I'm not going to dish out to you, serve you a biblical soup with all the quotations to prove that suffering is something that is answerable. It is not. And I'll be very suspicious about anyone who is trying to answer it. There is a little story of children, a group of children of neighborhood. They had a pet cat. One day the cat fell sick and it was dying. All the innocent children knelt down and prayed to God, God, save our cat. But the cat died. And they were terribly troubled, disturbed. They went to their parish priest and asked him this question. We had a dear cat, and why did God allow that cat to die? Parish priest was not amused to be disturbed by the death of a cat, but all the same, being a good man, he spoke to them. He gave a long biblical, theological discourse about death, suffering, and all that. And when he finished, the children went away bewildered, more bewildered than before. So one of the little child asked, he did not know, did he? Yes, he did not know. That's what happens. We cannot describe these things. We only have to look for the meaning, the significance of all these things. That's what Jesus says. Jesus does not give an answer when the disciples ask, why did this man was born blind? There's no answer to that. The answer is, what do you learn from this? What good can this tragedy produce? And that's what we need to think about while we are dealing with the tragedy of COVID-19. When we don't have any answer to that, what good can this tragedy bring about in our life? And therefore, it can bring about a lot of good things in our life. First of all, we become more and more concerned about our neighbor, concerned about people who are suffering, and begin to think, how can I be instrumental in preventing this disease from spreading more? How can I be not a cause to spread this disease? By following the directives given by the government and the church authorities. Let me follow that. Let me not be crying about that. I'm doing a good thing to the world. This tragedy has to be eradicated, and my cooperation will certainly help that. Secondly, I keep personal hygiene so that I may not be affected and all those with me should not be affected. Let me follow the etiquettes required in order to ward off this danger of this disease. Let us think more universally, more globally about others. We have always been thinking about so narrowly about our own life and our family and our neighborhood. Now it's time for us to open up to the entire world and show our solidarity with them by praying for them, wishing that something good will come out of this tragedy. These are the good things that can happen. This tragedy can certainly produce great virtues in the whole world. It can bring the whole world together. It can bring about a universal brotherhood in this world. If only we open our heart and learn the message that God is giving through this tragedy. A great message is coming to the whole world, individually to each one of us, to our family, to our country, and to the entire world. So let us open our hearts and see what does God want to communicate through this coronavirus tragedy. And if we do that, then we have learned something from this. Otherwise, it remains as a tragedy forever in our life. A bad memory, a bad dream, and it will continue to haunt us all our life. So let us make it an occasion, a blessing in disguise. That's what we need to do. So may these occasion be made use of in order to learn something from God, learn something all from the signs that we have at this time. Reading the signs of the times important, and God is telling us to open our eyes, see with His light, and open our heart and approach the tragedy with the attitude that Jesus would have had at this moment. Thank you.